All right, well, welcome back to the iWealth podcast. I'm with my buddy Mega Matt today, and Matt, this will be interesting. So I haven't teed this up with you at all, but I received a message from a client in the last week, and it was a TikTok video. You on TikTok?
You know, I was for a while, and it was way too hard to put it down, so I deleted that thing.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is my daughter's 25 and my son is 21. Yeah, legally now. I was on TikTok before those guys. Like, it was a new thing. Remember Gary Vaynerchuk? He was talking about it. So I downloaded TikTok, made this video of like my feet walking, and I had like 3,000 people look at him like, this is weird, on the algorithm that they had bought. But anyway, I'm not on TikTok either. I don't go there any longer, but my kids do. And I just asked Corbin last week, I'm like, hey, what are you looking at? And it was TikTok he was scrolling. So, and he buys stuff from the TikTok shop. And so I'm old. But anyway, it was a TikTok video. And the TikTok video was Kyle Busch. Do you know who Kyle Busch is?
No.
So he's a NASCAR driver. Okay. And I forget the name of his wife, and I don't have that video in front of me, but Kyle and his wife took, and I might get these numbers a little off, but he took like $10 million and he put it in a life insurance policy.
Okay. All
right. And this is public knowledge, but the life insurance company would be Pacific Life. Now, I have some of my own money in Pacific Life, like, we use Pacific Life, okay? So nothing wrong with the company in my mind. But there's a lawsuit against the agent that, and this is coming directly from Kyle and his wife because they got interviewed. There's a lawsuit about the Pacific Life policy that they put in place. And I thought it was really interesting as I watched it. Obviously, I didn't have to download TikTok. I was able to watch it without having to like sign in and everything. But I watched it, and the clients questioned to me because they have Pacific Life, like, is this what I own? With a little tongue in cheek, like, I hope not, but this is the same company kind of thing. And so, you know, a lot of people don't understand, like, all life insurance isn't created equally. Like, if I say, what different type of life insurances are out there, Matt, what comes to your mind when I say that?
Well, people talk about whole life versus term.
Yeah.
That's the big hot button thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how they just sell whole life like it's some sort of investment. But really, when you look at the numbers, term tends to be the better of the options.
Yeah.
You know, depending on how you're using it.
Yeah, and it depends.
Don't use it as a savings account.
Yeah.
That's the gist of it.
Yeah, and I so what's interesting about what you just said, so that's your opinion, obviously, right? I might have a different opinion on insurance, and I think that there's some permanent insurance is good. So whole life, universal life, index universal life, variable universal life. Like, there's all this stuff that's out there, right? And that's the problem, is that the general consumer doesn't understand the difference between one policy and another. They understand term is no cash and it's cheap.
Yeah.
Then they lump everything else in the other category. Like, it has cash value and you pay forever potentially and things like that. Well, what was interesting with Kyle Busch, as he explained, is that they put $10 million in this policy, if I believe that's the number. And in their mind, they thought it was a savings vehicle, back to your point, Matt, with term, or, you know. And so they put $10 million in, it provided a death benefit, and that money was going to continue, the $10 million was going to continue to grow. And the way it works out of a life insurance policy is you can borrow money out at a zero cost loan. So I'm just going to give you an example here, okay? So let's say that you walk in my office and I say, hey, I've got this life insurance XYZ company, and we're going to put $100,000 in for 10 years. So $1 million you're going to put into this policy. That $1 million is going to buy a death benefit on you, okay? Now, as the agent, I can choose that death benefit. So that death benefit, if you give me $1 million, maybe it's $4 million. And you might say, well, that's not a very big leverage on it. But if I run that and show you the illustration using, let's say, hypothetically, a $4 million death benefit, I'll be able to show you where that $1 million at a 5% rate of return continues to grow.
Okay.
But I also could say, let's make the death benefit $20 million. Now, if all of a sudden you die, your million becomes 20 million at death for your beneficiaries. However, that cash value isn't going to grow like the $4 million policy. Okay. And the why is because the insurance company's insuring you for 20,
yep,
not the 4.
Okay.
Here's what people need to understand. I, the agent, get paid multiples more on a $20 million death benefit than I do on 4.
Okay.
Okay. So in Kyle Busch's situation, I suspect, and I haven't seen the policy, so I'm allegedly, I suspect that the insurance agent that put that money into the policy bought a huge death benefit on Kyle.
Okay.
And so they wake up 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the road and they're like, where's my 10? It's worth 3. But yeah, if you would have died, Kyle, all of a sudden your 10's worth 60 million, like whatever the death benefit is, right? Meanwhile, big commissions were paid out to the life insurance agent. And so it has, in my mind, again, I didn't investigate this, but in my mind, I've seen this for 30 years in the insurance world. I've seen where insurance agents have taken advantage of their clients by selling them a leveraged policy for a higher death benefit. They make more, and who cares 3, 4, 10, 15 years down the road what happens to your insurance policy?
Yep.
And so consumers need to be smarter, and I think they're getting smarter. Financial advisors need to help educate their clients more. When you buy life insurance, you have to pay, like you need to see illustrations on what if you get 0% rate of return? What if you get 5? What if you get 6? Don't be looking at anything north of 6 because it's foolish. Like you don't want to hypothetically say, what if I get 10 in this thing? Like you just don't want, hopefully you do, but hope isn't an investment strategy. So what's interesting about this whole TikTok video I got from Kyle Busch is that it was like, hey, is this what I own? It's like, well, yes, you have a Pacific Life policy, but was it set up the exact same way? I suspect no, based upon their lawsuit that they filed against the life insurance agent. Is that interesting? Like, are you following? Like, what's in your head?
So it's interesting because you have this nuance to it. And from my perspective, it's like, don't buy something that you don't know what it is. Right?
But if you trust the person...
If you trust the person, you should still know what you're doing.
But look at people that invest in a mutual fund. Or they go to a financial advisor and they give them $500,000 in their IRA rollover. Like, they understand in general maybe some risk or anything like that, but they're really putting trust in that advisor that they're buying the right thing for them, right? So I don't.
That is a piece of it, but yet at the same time, if you're going to spend your hard-earned money, you have some responsibility in this, and the responsibility is to understand not only the risk piece of it, but what you're actually buying, which means that you can't trust even somebody that you know really well. You can't completely trust them. You have some skin in the game.
You can't be blind.
Yeah, you can't be blind to it.
Yeah.
And so in that example, the person that's coming in to visit with you is going, do I own this? They're saying, I don't have any responsibility in this. And the other person that's on TikTok is going, I didn't really know what I was doing. I gave all of that responsibility away. Well, put a stake in the ground and have some responsibility for yourself.
Yeah.
Neither of these two people are walking in going, I might have screwed up.
Right.
That's a different conversation, right? So that's what I'm hearing out of it.
Yeah.
But again, I'm one step removed from the situation.
And to your point, they should have seen an illustration. They should have said, what could go wrong with this?
Yeah.
How could this be a bad investment? Instead of just some rosy figure that was shown to them if you get 10% rate of return or 12 or whatever number was shown to them. Like, they should be asking the questions, like even with your investments, like what could go wrong with this, or what could happen to this, or you know, they have to, you're right, they have to take some responsibility. But there's also some really crummy agents, in my mind crummy, that don't justify what they're doing to their clients because they're in it to make a commission.
Yeah.
You know, and there's some, and that, it's not just the insurance world. It could be cars, it could be houses, it could be whatever. But I think people need to
Could be solar.
maybe could be a good investment. Yeah, it's just an interesting take. But I thought the highlight for me was they put a spotlight on the company. Pacific Life is the people that did the life insurance policy. So all of a sudden they're bad and evil, which I don't believe is true in my mind. And then they put a highlight on Kyle Busch and how they, things didn't work out well for them.
Okay.
But yet, you're right. They didn't put any highlight on Kyle. What did you see? There wasn't any follow-up questions that I saw in the video about what did you see. And I would imagine if they go to arbitration, there's going to be some questions about what illustrations were used. What did you see, Kyle? That kind of thing. Like, did you ask this question? So, to be determined on what comes out of that. But I think what I want clients or people to take out of this is that they need to be their best advocate, just like in health. When somebody gives you a diagnosis or doctor tells you, I think that more time than ever in the world, like you got to ask more questions and maybe get a second opinion if you don't like it, what you're hearing. Use that gut feeling, intuition. Same thing on insurance. Like you need to ask the questions, make sure that you're buying things correctly, putting the right things in place, because there are snakes out there that will take advantage of you if you don't do it correctly. And anyway, so I thought it was an interesting topic as it came up.
Came through.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, we'll see you back here next time.
All right. Thanks, Matt.